What's up, guys? Winterkill is back with another video, and today the new ban list has just been released. Very exciting time whenever the new ban list comes out. It's always, exciting to see what's become unbanned, what's become limited, what's semi-limited, and what's finally back at 3. And it's been kind of a crazy format, and it's going to become even a crazier format in the upcoming, month or two with all these new decks that will be coming out. And it's been a good format for me. I've been playing some towers and it's been doing pretty good. But so we're gonna go ahead and see now, basically what's changed, and let's see how much it might affect basically the upcoming meta. So basically, no really new forbidden monsters. Exceeds everything looks the same. Looks like we do have the super polymerization has been banned. I don't think it's really necessary to ban it. However, the Shadals are getting a new fusion card. The Nephis Shadal fusion, which I think will be okay. I think it'll be a good card to play in the deck. But hitting super poly or banning super poly, I don't think it was really necessary. I think hitting it to 1 was a good idea because the card was obviously way too strong. But I see that banning it's doesn't really hurt the deck too much because they have so many other fusion cards that are even somewhat ways better than super poly, because Shadal fusion you can go from the deck, which is very helpful when you don't have all the Shadals you need in your hand. And basically Nephis Shadal fusion will make fusion summoning much easier in the upcoming format. So I don't really think that is gonna be too much of a hurt towards the deck. I was maybe thinking they might hit something from the actual archetype, to maybe slow this deck down a little bit. But, banning super poly, like I said, really doesn't make much of a difference, in my opinion. Because it was at 1, it's kind of a, hit or miss card to draw anyways. You really couldn't search the card like you could the Shadal cards. So, interesting. So let's go ahead and keep continuing here. Alright. Artifact Moral Attack finally at 1. That is something I like to see. I do not like playing against artifacts whatsoever. I think it's about time that they finally hit this card to 1. I think it's something that needed to happen, and especially with Clefort, the new pendulum-based archetypes coming out. This because the artifacts basically just go ahead and wreck this deck. They basically just destroy them because they can just keep popping their scales and basically won't allow the decks to even play Yu-Gi-Oh! And I think this is basically giving the Clefort archetype more of a push, in the upcoming months by hitting this card to 1. And I definitely think that's something that needs to happen. And I've been waiting for this a long time. It dodged the ban list, last time, and now it's finally got hit, which I think is, I don't know about you, but for me, is something I'm very happy about. So let's go ahead and continue on here. Dark Strikes Fighter now at 1. I believe it's been had an errata. They changed the text now that you can only use this effect once per turn, so you just can't keep burning, your opponent for days upon days, and making them just flip the table. But basically, no, Dark Strikers Fighter is back. They've changed the print, because it was so broken they had to come back, change the print, and it's at 1. This is something I kind of predicted to happen. I figured they'd bring it back, and I was trying to pick some up before it got too expensive. So maybe if that a lot of people are start playing it, I can make a buck or two off of it, which is something always good to do. So keep in mind, if there's any card that you think will come back in the next coming format or two, always buy a couple copies of it. Remember, I watched this one guy on YouTube. He bought like 20 copies of Gale Guardian while he was still $5, and then he came back and he was like 20, 30 copies a piece, or $20, $30 a copy. Excuse me, and made a lot of money off that. So yeah, it's interesting. It's another level 8 generic synchro back in the game, which I think is very good. I don't think it'll make too much of a difference in the meta. There's not really too many synchro based decks out right now besides Yang Zing, which hasn't been doing too much in the meta. Like we've seen Shadal and Burning Abyss do, or Cleforts. So yeah, and let me just go ahead and check real quick. Yeah, Zen Maid still banned. That's a card I thought they might bring back to 1 at least, because the Zen mains are not the Zen mains. The windups are getting more support in the next few sets, I believe. So that'll be interesting to see. So we have a new limited spell card, and this is Snatch Steel. Wow, I haven't seen this card in such a long time. And last format they bought back Raigeki, which everybody thought was going to be the end-all be-all of cards to come back. Oh my God, Raigeki, you got to play this card. Which, in terms right now, Raigeki is just as good as Dark Hole. A lot of people aren't playing it. It's not really too good of a card right now because when you think about it again, the only deck it really hurts is Satellar Knights, which is not that big of a threat. I kind of see, Satellar Knights unfortunately dropping off a little bit. However, this will still be a very competitive deck with the new Triver Turbo build that a lot of people have been playing. And, but Snatch Steel, I believe that's the card that you take control of your opponent's monster, so it's an equip card, but your opponent gains 1,000 life points for every turn that you have it. But basically nowadays, back when this card was out, you didn't really have anything to do with that monster other than just take it and beat your opponent down with it. Or maybe tribute it for a Monarch or something, back in the day. But now it's a lot different because you can take the monster, tribute it for something, or overlay with it, or synchro with it, or do so many incredible plays, fusion with it. There's so many other plays you can do. This card will open up a lot of plays for certain decks. Do I think it'll be a staple? Not really sure. I can see it being a staple in too many decks. Maybe a sided card. I'm not really sure. It's a weird card. It's definitely not Change of Heart by any means because your opponent just keep gaining life points, so it's not really too good against. Maybe it's not going to be good against Cliffworks whatsoever because can't really steal their big monster towers or their new one Colonel or anything like that. It's I don't know. It's a weird card to bring back. I don't know why they do this. They just brought back Raigeki, this card. I don't understand, Konami. What are you doing? But anyways, they could have brought Fate back to 2. But Snatch Steel finally back in the game. What do you guys think? Leave a comment in the comment section below. Really, really want to hear what you guys have to say about this card. And as far as how effective it will be, how game changing it will be, is pretty much up in the air. We'll just have to see. So. That looks really about it for, back to limited, semi-limited, Honest. Wow. They brought Honest back to 2. I thought I'd never see the day where they'd bring this card back. When it was first at 3, this card was absolutely insane, but now, not so much because, again, the whole destruction thing is not too bad, but, Shadalls can pull off this huge, BLS dropping Honest, which basically equals game, because, you can just make a huge BLS that can attack twice, and OTKs are real. As a Satellar Knight player myself, I don't really play Honest. I feel it's more of a sided card, but I feel like a lot more light-based decks, a lot of cards that can really, a lot of decks that can really play this card, might start taking advantage of this, because this is a card that I feel like, it just gets very, very annoying. It can just steal games if you're not careful. Hand traps. They've brought a lot of hand traps back. They've just brought Gores back, and they've got Gores back to 2 in the last BANLIST. Sorry, I can't talk. And it really hasn't made much of a difference. Nobody really plays Gores anyways. Me as a Satellar Knight player, I might try 2. I could obviously test with it very easily, see how that plays out. But obviously, I'd rather draw into Satellar monsters. Might slow the deck down. I think it'll be something like Raigeki. It'll be really hype at first, but really it'll kind of fade in the next coming weeks or so. Not something too many people play. Maybe you could just play one side in the second if you really need it. If you really have a hard time getting over your opponent's board, maybe a second Honest in game 2 or 3 would be something very helpful to do. But yeah, that's all I really got for Honest right there. And very good for Herald of Ultimateness. Another fairy that you can play. Another fairy that you can just ditch. Well, it would be very interesting with that card. I'll probably definitely play 2 in my Herald of Ultimateness deck. And this looks like Goyle Guardian. Goyle Guardian finally back to 2. Was at 1 last BANLIST, and now has been bumped up to 2, which I think is it's going to be something that's pretty good for, Shadalls and the Yang Zing, because they do tend to synchro a lot. Yang Zing more than Shadal, but do see a lot of Shadal builds running Goyle Guardian, and I think it'll be a card that you probably should play 2 of, but I don't think it'll be a staple, but I think it's definitely good. I think a lot of decks will be able to take advantage of this card being at 2 now, which is something we'll just have to wait and see in the future. And trying to move on now, because of what I'm looking at here is Dark Hole is now at 2, or will be at 2 come January 1st, because that's when this ban list goes into effect. It goes into effect, and I forgot to mention that at the beginning of the video. I apologize. But Dark Hole is finally going to come back to 2, which playing 2 Dark Hole 1 deck, I really don't see it being a staple. I see it as, again, being more of a sided card for rogue decks that really suffer under it. But again, you know, against the current meta, destruction is absolutely garbage, and it is something that you don't want to do to a board of Burning Abyss, to a board of Shaddoll, and to a board of Clifford's, because it's basically a waste against Clifford's. Unless you can banish their cards or keep their scale from getting up, they're just going to go ahead and Pendulum Summon it all again next turn and still wreck your face. So that's what I have to say about Dark Hole. Although I think it's really cool to see the card at 2. I think it's something, you know, that'll be just kind of fun to play now in certain decks, but I don't think, you know, it's going to be anything really game-breaking. You know, nobody was really playing Dark Hole at 1, and I don't think anything will change with that either now at 2. And the last section here, the basically everything that was, or everything that will no longer be on the list right here, and I don't know why I won't highlight that anything, but we do have Blackwing, Gale the Whirlwind now at 3. Not really too, you know, big there. They keep giving Blackwing support. I don't know why. They also have Gund now at 3, and it was at 1, and they've just jumped it right back to 3 for some reason. I think it's very cool. Do I think it'll make Mermail competitive again? No. Maybe if they brought back Dragoons back to 3 and other cards like that, I think it made the deck a little better. But Gund, I don't think. However, it'd be amazing, you know, to give that deck a little more support, a little more life in the current meta right now, because it does still hold its own. It's kind of a silent, you know, a sleeper tier 1, maybe tier 1.5 deck to still play. Something definitely you don't want to, you know, mess around with, because they will beat you if you're not careful. You know, a Draco Sack, a Big Eye, you know, dropping huge boards with their leads and Megalos, and being able to make huge boards with the Gund is going to make that a lot easier. It's going to make the deck a little more explosive. However, competitive, I'm not too sure. I would maybe bring back the Dragoons would have been something a little bit better, or Fishborg Blaster even. That would have been something. Reborn Tengu, kind of a mediocre card to bring back. I don't think it'll be that good to play now at 3. You know, just coming back from 2, coming back to 3, nobody was really playing it in the first place. I still don't think anyone was playing it. Reasoning, again, not going to be that too good of a card, because, you know, I think Sylvans was playing this card. Now that Sylvans is no longer really a thing anymore because of Soul Charge being hit to 1, and Lone Fire still being at 2. Not that I ever really hurt the deck to begin with, but Reasoning, again, and Transmigration Prophecy, I don't really care about. I never really thought it was that good of a card in the first place. I never really knew why it was banned. I mean, I guess there was a little loop that you could do with it, but I don't think it's that big of a deal to be back at 3. But really, though, the real MVP is this Snatch Steel right here. I really do want to hear what you guys have to say about this. Leave a comment in the comment section below. If you're furious about this card coming back, type in all caps Rage. Let me know why you're mad. But if you actually think this is a cool card to come back, if you think this is going to be something that's going to be absolutely game-changing, let me know why, because I'm still kind of in the dark about why they brought this card back. I don't think it'll do too much, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see to where it will go from here on out. Like I said, the ban list goes into effect January 1st. It's just been released today. I believe it is December 17th. And I will leave a link to the ban list in the description, so go ahead and check it out for yourself if you haven't already. Like I said, like, subscribe to show your support, guys. It means so much, so much. As always, guys, winner kills, and we'll see you later.